Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. It's Darla Lucian of Darla Lucian Studios. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to do a little bit of a mask making today. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about what we did. But before we get going, I'm going to ask you to hit the like button just down there. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet, and hit the notification bell. We're getting closer and closer to 100 subbies. I can't even believe it. 10. I am going to be working on a little journal as a giveaway, a mini journal. So you'll definitely want to be part of that. And just if you can think of anybody else who might want to be a part of that, share with them. Share the channel. Let them know that we're going to be doing 100 subby 100 subby giveaway once we get to 100. And comment. I've been enjoying the comments from last week, and I try to respond within 24 hours so we can kind of keep a conversation going. It's so much fun. But let's get going. All right, so what I am doing today is I'm going to do a little mask making session. So these are all made with book page that has been decorated. So I was going through, oh, of course my table's too far away. I was going through using some of this manual. It's a For Dummies book, and so it has lots of pictures and has really quite wide columns at places. And anyway, so these are the pages that I'm going to use. You can grab whatever book pages you want and turn them into ephemera to add to your journals. So, for example, let's say I wanted to put a pocket in here. This is already ready to go pretty much. I just glue it down and I can already start using it pretty much right away. It doesn't need a lot of extra decoration. You know, I might add a little more to these once I realize, you know, where exactly they're going, but I'm going to mass make, which means I'm going to make a whole bunch at one time like an assembly line in order to just be a little quicker with it. And then later on, when I go to make journals, it will be much easier because the things will already be made, and I'll just need to maybe add a few more decorations. Okay, so the first one was a pocket. So it's literally, well, I'll show you how I made these later. So it literally goes on like that, or I guess you could put it on a side if you wanted, but I'm making these to go this direction. Then this is a double side tuck. So with this, I didn't worry about the back and this wouldn't either because it's going straight down on the page. So it would go on like that, and you would glue it like that on the back. And then, now let me just find a little card so you can see it. So then you would have a double tuck. So you'd have one pocket that would be here, and then the other pocket that's here. So I'll show you how I made these. They're quite fun, and it looks really neat when you have it like that. Okay, then I made a little envelope out of the book page. It literally opens. You can put something right inside. It closes, and this little flower here is the catch that grabs that. So you can, I did ink the back, you can use it as is, or if you wanted to and you had a pocket, you could just tuck it in the pocket too. And so if you had a bigger embellishment or a thicker one, like this one's kind of thick, so I might want it to be removable as opposed to permanently attached by gluing it in. All right, last but not least is the wraparound tuck. So what happens with this one, this is it open. What happens with this one is that it literally wraps around the side of a pocket, and then you glue it like that in the three sides, leaving the one side open so that it would be a tuck spot there. So now you see how they look in a journal. And so now I'm just going to show you how we make them. So I'll put these off to the side here for now. Okay. So first I just wanted to, like I tore these out of a book, but they're not particularly squared. So to just make that happen, I'm going to just take off a little bit. So now it's much squarer. You see how this kind of line is kind of wonky a bit. So same thing here. I sometimes use the line or the top of the page, or following the way the writing block is, to help me to figure out which is going to be kind of square. I'm going to use these two lines, line it up with that to make it straight. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. This one's actually a little bit gluey because I used it as a glue pad earlier today. But that doesn't matter for one of the ones that I'm doing. So, save these scraps. This is how I got all those scraps for the video that you saw yesterday. The video about making the faux stamps. Alright, so first one, this one. Let's do this one. So the thing about this one is actually that we don't need it to be very wide, because it has to be able to fit on a book page. So if you have a wide book, like this would go on like this, and we're going to fold it in half. So we get a double thickness. And that's why it doesn't matter with the glue, because the glue can be on the inside. We need it to be able to fit the page. And about because my pages are usually about 6, not even 6, it's 11 and it's 11 by 8.5, so it's actually 5.5 wide. So 5 or so would be about where I'd want it. Let's see. So bring out my handy dandy measure. I know you guys can't see at the very bottom, but I measured it to 5, and then I can cut it off, or even 5 1/4. I'm going to go this way so I can keep this nice number. If it doesn't cut off, yeah, it's going to be great. Okay, so see that number? That'll be fun on a tag or something. All right, and then this way, so I need double the height, right? Because we are going to put it in half again. I'm just going to fold it, and then I'm going to cut it off there. I'm not even measuring it. I'm just going along the edge of where my fold line is. So then there's a little extra scrap, which I'll put in with my scrap papers, because you know what? I will use it eventually. All right, so you can use white glue, just like school glue, for this, but then you will get ones that curl, and I did not press it under my book soon enough after I had done it, so it's kind of curling quite a bit, which is too bad. So if you don't want that, you can do just glue stick, which works just fine. But you know, white glue is cheaper probably. You can brush it on. It doesn't have to be all globby. Okay, and then I just cover the one side, because the other side sandwiches over on top of it. So that's that one done as a base. So then, just so you can see, I've got a whole bunch of those done already. Here, I have different sizes, different widths, because there's always going to be different sizes of books, or different places you want to put your pocket. Or, you know, we can make some pockets go this direction too, like make them taller. That could be interesting. Anyway, so that's our first mask making thing. Putting that together. Okay. Second mask making thing is this cool double side tuck. So I have a bunch of these, and I'll show you how I made these. So these ones, I actually just kept the size that it was as far as the width, but we need to deal with the end a little bit. But I think what I'll do is I will do can't seem to find space for everything because I want you to be able to see. All right, so first we want to make both of these lips sturdy. So in this case, I did a little bit of a fold over here, just like this. Okay, like that, and we're going to stick that down. And then we want it to be about that thickness for the first pocket. And then we want to have it just slightly more for the second pocket. So I just kind of accordion fold it. And I'm just lining it up to the edge here to make sure that it's even. So that on the front it looks like this. Not quite even for some reason. Oh, it's this one that's not even. All right, let's try refolding this. That's the nice thing about folding, is you can always just refold it. We want it to be, whoops, come back here you. We want it to be straight there. So I'm just pulling the paper back a little. Oh, I see. Okay. All right, and then, so then we just slice off this little bit here. So I just follow that line with my slicer and dicer, my Fisker cutter. So now that I have it lined up, I'm just going to pull it open. So I don't want to cut the fold. So now I have this extra little scrap. And then, so this is our front part, right? Looks like that. So if we turn it upside down and we open this part up, we're going to glue this onto here for an extra stability in the pocket. Oops. There goes my glue stick. So I fold it right at the fold because it's easiest to make it smooth like that. All right, so this one is now ready to go. I'm not going to glue this part down until after we put the paper in the inside. It's just easier to do it that way. So I have a bunch of bases for that ready to go. All right, this one, the round the page double tuck. Oh, there's a couple more of these. Okay, around the page double tuck. Oh, this one is quite big. That's why it didn't actually come over here. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. So literally, you fold the paper in half, and then you fold the sides in to the center line. So let me show you what I mean. Fold the paper in half. Open it up. Fold your pages to the center line. We don't want to go right to the center line because we want room for it to wrap around the page. Right to the center line on this side with a little tiny gap. You see that? In the middle. And then we just glue these parts down. We glue the wings down. One side down. I mean, this one is so quick, and yet it looks really nice. Reinforce a flimsy page if you have a flimsy page. But it just adds a nice little element and extra place for you to tuck extra ephemera or things, like if you have tickets or whatever. So this is the inside that goes around the page. And that's what that looks like. And so those ones are all ready to go. So then, the last one. This one's a little bit more complicated. I do have some of those guys. So first of all, let me show you that we don't actually need quite all of this big thickness of a page. So I'm going to just take off the top. And I'm going to take off the side. I'm going to use this line to help me be straight. It wasn't as straight as I'd hoped. I'm going to do it this side too. I like the writing block as the part that's, you know, the part that you see. Okay, so I brought it down, like envelopes could be a variety of sizes, right? So keep in mind that when you make your envelope, it'll be like this. So if we do it this way, it's going to be upside down. So we actually want it to be this way, so that the outside has the letters, like the side that opens has the writing the right way. Not that you would necessarily see it, but that means that your paper is actually going to be upside down. So first things first is we fold this. Now you can either fold it from the bottom up, if you kind of have a certain amount that you want to see, or from the top down. And we want to leave a little gap here because we want to be able to put stuff into our envelope. So there we go. All right, so you see it's folded 3 places. So now, this is going to be the bottom. It's really important to know which part's the top flap and which one is the bottom part. So this is the bottom part, so we don't actually cut the sides on this one, but we do need to cut the top. So watch this. This is a sweet little trick I learned. So line this up for how much of a flap we want to glue in for stability. So I want about a 1/2 inch. Not quite. So we find where the fold line is on the bottom part. Okay? And that's where we start cutting. On this bottom part where we're not cutting, I use my embossing tool and I just run down that line as the cut line, but I use the embossing tool for it. So then when I open this up, just pull that off, and now you see how we have a little flap there that also wants to fold in because we embossed that part. Got it? So keeping in mind that we want this part, the bottom part, to stay on the bottom. We'll flip it over this time. So we still want to do about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to start right at that fold line, and then the embossing tool for the bottom part. This is the fastest method I found to do this. All right, and then we just pull that off, that wing. And now we can use the embossing tool. I'm going to get the blade out of the way to make a top lip and a bottom lip. No, I don't need it that big there. Oops, come on. I want that to be square against there so that I draw a straight line. And I can tell because the writing is now straight along my cut line. Which I'm not cutting, I'm just using my embossing tool. All right, so now I have this fold line which has made a square, hypothetically, or a rectangle in this corner. So we want to cut right at the point, the inside point, at an angle to get the bulk out of that corner. And you could cut here too if you want it to be neat, but it honestly doesn't need to be neat because it's going to be on the inside and we aren't going to see it. So it just saves a step of snipping. So I'm just going to toss those little bits out. All right. So now, important to remember, so this is the top flap. We need to glue that down. That gets glued down. Okay, then turn it around, and this is the top of the bottom flap. That also needs to get glued down. Okay. Now, we have put the glue on this side and folded the sides in. Now flip it over and just glue on the flap. Top, or side and side actually, and then flip it back. And we're going to fold these flaps in, which now means the glue side is up. Does that make sense? And now let's fold up and press. And that is our base. See that? And you could have it slightly lower if you want. I might actually just refold this. It's entirely easy enough to do that. I like it kind of more like 2/3, 1/3 kind of look. If it's not sticking, because it's not, with glue stick, and because it's going to be like a pocket, lots of insies and outsies, then you can always reinforce the top corner with tacky glue. Or, if you wanted to, any or all of these could be stitched around, you know, various spots. Now, the final touch, some people like to see is to either snip these corners at an angle. First of all, we could leave it square, like that one is, or we could cut the corners at an angle there. You see? Not sure I'm totally thrilled with that look. So then another thing I wanted to try was corner rounding my envelope corners. So, oops, let's get it right in the tool without bending too much. Okay. Okay. Well, I like that a lot. That looks great. All right. So, that is how you make that one. So, what are we doing for time? 20 minutes. Okay, so that gives me about another 20 to do some decorating, which is fun. So what we're going to do, I'm going to move these out of the way, is use up scraps, because why not, right? I'm going to save the envelopes because they're a little bit smaller. And I'm going to do this one first. Show you how to decorate this one. These are fun, really fun to do. Okay, so first you need a scrap. Now, with these ones, I mean, you can collage on them, but it looks really cool when you use the same paper. Just in the layers. Okay, this book is not in the right place. All right, there we go. Okay, using that nice large pattern definitely works for that particular piece. I like how that looks. Okay, so there's this that has a nice all-over pattern. Will it cover the words? Yeah, the words don't really show through. Good. All right, so how we do it. I've got too many things here. Okay. Keep this handy so you can see it as a reference. So how we do it is first we figure out which is the front. So this is the front that folds over. Okay, and I'm going to do this one the opposite way. So it can go on an opposite side page. So instead of making it slightly smaller, which we might normally do, we actually make it just slightly bigger because we're going to need to have some extra that goes, like it goes a little bit wider inside, right? So to measure, I'm just going to make a little tick mark to give myself a little extra space there. There it is. And then this way we want to measure exactly the height that we want it. So that will be to there. All right. Slicer and dicer, you come back to me. Okay, I think I'd rather have the long piece than a shorter stubby piece. So let's take that part off first. So that gives us a nice tall piece. Maybe we can use it for something else. And then here we go. Okay, so you see, now we will measure what we want 4 on the top. So on the top, I want about to there. Okay. All right, so I should be able to put that on there. Good. Let's glue that baby down. So I'm just going to line it up with the bottom here. And making sure I'm not going over the edge. Oh, it shifted slightly. Let's try that again. I don't think I'm as even as I thought. Let's try this at the top. Maybe that'll work better. Oh, I think it's just wider up there. Interesting. Okay. Maybe it wasn't cut completely square the last time. Alright, now I'm trying to match the pattern up. And so I'll open this up and I'll put this right in this inside edge. But I don't want it to be open the whole time I'm doing this because look at what happens. We want to make sure that that's lining up so that it kind of looks like the pattern keeps going. See that? So let's give that a little bit of glue. So where do we want to start that? About there. Come on. Don't give me grief. Right at the edge, right? Because we want to reinforce that edge, and we can't see the pattern that's inside the pocket, so we want it to be perfect. Okay. All right, so once I've gotten this far, I like the inked look, so I'm going to ink this before I glue this shut. If you find your glue stick isn't holding it like that, again with the tacky glue, right? Tacky glue to the rescue for everything. Don't need a lot, just kind of a dot. Oh, maybe one more dot. Alrighty. Okay, now I'm doing this edge too, because this is also going to be a pocket, or a tuck spot actually. Side pocket, side pocket. I guess you could glue it down as either a tuck or a side pocket. Now I'm going to open this, and I mean obviously you don't have to go inside in here where the white is, but just kind of at the edge there so that it looks good. And completed. See? Perfect. Okay, so then we can think about what we're going to put on here. It is easy to decorate ones that you have like a pattern happening on because the pattern is pretty much the decoration. Like I really do want these to be pretty neutral so that I can decorate any journal with it. But that said, we could still put like a word on or something. I think these are probably all big. Sweet. Passage. Time. Journey. kind of be fun as like a family tree kind of thing. But see how it's a little too big, right? So I don't think these are going to be the thing. Summer might be the winner chicken dinner. I have a few other worthy things. Frost doesn't seem to fit. Forest could fit. I think I like forest best, actually. Okay. I want a little green with this. Maybe this kind of green. Just give it a little inky ink around the outside. Okay. Put it on there. We don't need a huge piece of this, do we? Not really. You could just, no, that's too much. Cut off some of this though. Okay. Give this a little inky ink too. A little glue on the back of forest. Okay, come on, line up. I'm using my finger to help me pivot. Okay. Like that. I always like it kind of like the 1/3 spot rather than dead center. I find it just looks a little better. Or even at a quarter. I kind of like it right there. I really don't think this one needs a lot more. So then we are going to put tacky glue in to finish this one off. Here and here. Now remember, with tacky glue you get a couple seconds to readjust. But the problem with that is you also have a couple of seconds that can readjust on you if you're not paying attention. So I'm just going to hold it for a sec. Alright. So there's our second one. So one gets tucked this way, and then this one goes on the page and gets tucked on this side. Very different looks, but the same kind of an embellishment. So now we have two of those. So let's keep going. You know, we do have this piece here, and it's already measured to be the right height, so we just need to worry about depth. Boy, that's pretty close. So this is the little piece we're cutting off. Save that for possibly something else. And then we want to put some inside, some for inside. Okay. Oh dear. Just what lost my blade out of my cutter. That wouldn't be as handy. Alright, so open up. baby in. I think it might be easier if we glue the inside part first. Easier to line up. All right. I'm gonna switch to a less gluey one. Okay, I'm going to line up the bottom now. How do we do? Not bad, right? Okay. So what happened to that little word I had, summer? Do you remember where I put it? Did I put it in this box? Did I put it in that box? I might toss it in here. I did. There it is. This scorching looking makes me think of like the heat in summertime. Maybe it's not quite what everybody wants to see, but I think it kind of looks cool. Alright, so let's grab a little snip of this stuff. So you can do collage on these, like I was saying, and it has a bit of a different look, and so maybe we'll try that. But for right now, putting these larger strips on makes it go pretty quick. Like, just think about how many we can actually make, because we decided to do just one strip, which is a very fast glue job for sure. Alright, again with the trying to find where the center is. There we go. Alright, where do we want this? Right here? It's kind of where I had put it before. Oh, I like it. More contrasty colors up there. Alright. Contrasty. New word to add to your crafting vocabulary. Alright. Now it's inking time. So the thing about this book page kind of thing is that, like, you can use pages from books that, you know, maybe have bad words or have like strange images, or generally just as text that you don't want to see because it's basically being covered. It's just a base. I mean, you can make it so that it shows through if you would like, but it doesn't have to be that way. Which is kind of nice because, like here, this one was about beekeeping. I mean, I don't need all the ins and outs of beekeeping in the journals that I'm doing. So I took the images out of the book that I wanted to use, aka the bees, the honeycombs, interesting ones like that. And then the rest is going to be just bases for different things. So I think you notice that I'm doing it over here because this way we don't have to measure. We know how much glue to put on. It's a shorter edge than the other side. And so it just makes it easier to do it this way. One, two, three, 4, 5. All right. Oops. Another one done. 3 done. Next. This is kind of an interesting texture-y kind of a one, but it is showing the words through. So let me see if I can find one that has less words on. Maybe there's a more whitish one, just that one, I think. Oh, no, there's this one. Perfect. Doesn't have any words. It was the end of a chapter page, right? So, I'm going to just cut off the bottom to start. Right there. Now you can use your slicer and dicer, and I'll make it nice and even. Or if you want to be quicker, you can just use your tear ruler. So, and then instead of even using pencil, I can just line the paper up where I want it. I want it there, and I want it to there. So, then, tear. Okay, so that goes on like so. And then I just want another little bit, and this is always, the trick is to put the smaller bit under the ruler and tear away with the bigger bit. That's going to make the most difference. This particular pattern doesn't really matter because it's kind of a repeating pattern, but it's kind of an all-over pattern too. So let's do the inside first. I think that that's definitely was an improvement over the last time. So this just so happens to be all white. So you could actually do something interesting like using stamps or paint on it because it's, you know, white. So it's kind of a blank canvas, so to speak. Which is kind of fun. Fun to try out new techniques with pre-existing. So because this one was this kind of white background, I made a larger border here because I just thought that that added some extra interest. I might not ink this one. But for this one, I think, what if we put a butterfly or something? Let's see my butterfly book. Well, it's not just butterflies, but that purple one or that blue one? That blue one, maybe. I like that. I want something behind it. I think I do. A little scrap. Just to make it pop out a little more. Taking these off, sometimes you can tear them, so I'm trying to be careful. Before I put it on, I'm going to actually ink the edge to kind of take the white off a little bit of this butterfly, because I don't really want it to be that white. I could have probably inked it right on the sheet, but I didn't want to ink the other ones in case when it comes to time that I don't want to ink those ones. But who are we kidding? I probably will anyway. All right. There we go, like so. Slide this one away. I'll keep this one handy maybe. Keep it close by. Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty. Now, I had some words on here. What are we going to do? That's kind of funny. Hive talk. I have a lot of these little scraps written on that's like oops. Should take some of these out. Too cute. scraps that were written on because they were, or not written on, but stamped on, because I was doing some stuff for that pink journal, and I just kind of went overboard. I was having so much fun, the actual stamping. So now I'm just looking for something to be at the bottom. Like that. Or maybe even that. And a word. Angelic. Friendship. Tinkling bells. Voice. And there's a bunch of little words that are in here that are going to be misplaced if magic might be the one. They're going to be misplaced if I don't kind of collect them a little bit. Okay, so I don't need Hive Talk for this one, but I like the idea of that. Okay. What if that actually is kind of neat, isn't it? The grasses. Oh, this one's better though. Just, it seems to, the style is more similar, right? Because this is a photograph and this is a drawing, and so is this, is like a painting. So let's do the same thing here as we did with this, which is to cut a piece and keep it going. So I'm actually going to make it as wide as the tag though, or as the section is, as opposed to the way I made the yellow, slightly less. I'm just going to do only slightly less. And then we'll glue that on. Okay. Oh, that's so cool. This is from a fairy tale book. And I had used some images from that page already. But I thought that this might make good background for stuff. And what do you know? It's going to be perfect for this. And sometimes you just hang on to stuff until you know you got it. Alright, so then with this one, I am going to glue in, and then see, perfect. And then we're going to trim to fit the page, which is another thing that you could do too. See? And even this little part might be good for something, so we'll just hang on to that. Okay, I forgot to trim up here. It's sticking out just marginally, but it was sticking out a bit. So, see, it's blue, so that's what I was thinking. That could be kind of fun. Does it need something underneath it? I don't think so, because then I'm going to be covering up that very nice piece of book page that I just put on. So what would be the point? Okay. Magic. That's fun. And done. Just need to do the gluing on the sides. How quickly are we getting through these? That looks pretty cute. Boy, I'm sure happy with how these are turning out.